What's up, Midlothian? You know it's us. We're back. It's me, as always, Rob LaFleur. To my left, as always, internationally known but locally loved, Lobo. How you doing today?
I'm not sure anybody loves me.
Everybody loves you. And then, of course, live from the Fantasy Factory in the home of Mr. John Opoka. What's going on, buddy?
What up, y'all?
Man, what a day, what a day. You know, we've had some pretty good feedback so far from the first podcast that we all did.
Yeah, a lot of you're ugly, talk less, stuff like that.
Who's this guy?
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the infamous, the famous, the barely, what would you call yourself?
Infamous.
There you go.
Infamous.
Yeah.
Matt Rushing.
Matt Rushing.
Welcome, Matt. We appreciate you coming by for the second time. The first time.
Thanks for having me.
Yes.
Well,
First
the
time
thing
the
about-
audio kind of got messed up a little
Well,
bit.
the first podcast went about like my life did, so I'm kind of
Did
used
it?
to it now.
Well, the first podcast, a couple things happened. If you remember the first show we did when Lobo
wasn't
finally got
here.
back. No, we scrapped that. It never hit the public. The first
Oh.
show, Lobo was in Atlanta filming. And how'd that go?
It was cool.
Who can you tell us anything about what you did, or is it still
Can't say a
under?
lot. I can say I had a really good scene with Luke Evans, who was a big star. He's an English guy. He was actually Owen Shaw in Fast and Furious 6.
Yeah, the first before Jason Statham.
Right. He was the
That's
first
his
Shaw
brother.
brother. And, you know, a lot of movies, done a lot of stuff. And
He's pretty hot right now.
he actually is fucking hot. I mean,
Yeah.
I felt like a fat slob next to him. I mean, he's a good looking dude for some people.
Oh, I'm not gonna lie. You sent me that picture, and I'm
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
He probably doesn't eat pork chops on a regular basis, does
well,
he?
that's what's wrong with it. Maybe you don't eat the pork chop. Like, I mean, nothing like a 4-pound pork chop to make you feel good about yourself.
So what's it like on the set of a movie? I mean, for your scene, you were gone how many days?
I left Tuesday, came back Friday. I actually worked for about 5 hours.
And the rest is just downtime? Or?
Travel time back and forth, wardrobe fittings, makeup, hair, stuff like that.
I know, because that picture you sent me.
Yeah, that hair takes a long time to do.
They messed my beard up. I was very angry about it.
Well, the one picture he sent me, and I think you got it too, John. He's wearing this. I mean, like Snoop Dogg would be dragging his head on the ground necklace.
Can I throw that picture up on the podcast? No, I mean I have it. I can inject it.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
But yeah, we're gonna reference it here.
The picture you're seeing right now is Lobo, this huge gaudy gold chain, and usually if you guys have run into him in town, he's pretty simple. He's got his his patented Under Armour sleeveless shirt. He does a lot of things, and he trains people.
They
during the day.
they dressed me horrible. I was wearing Jordans with shiny basketball shorts that were down almost to the Jordans, with a T-shirt and 2 gold chains.
Anything for $20, right? Or 20,000.
Well, I don't know about 20, but 20,000 works.
Well, Matt, let's talk about you.
Nah.
So-
Back to Lobo. What?
So we have Matt Rushing here, and I know a lot of you guys out there have been hearing that he was going to come on the show. And what we're here to do right now is just give Matt an opportunity to talk to all the citizens of Midlothian. And a lot of you know him, some of you don't. So we're going to start from the beginning with who Matt Rushing is.
Where did you come from?
Where did you come from?
My father's penis.
Now he did say that the first.
I don't know. I don't know if it's the first time thing or second time. I know, with me and my kids, it was like a one and done type thing. So I'm assuming it was a.
Pretty potent,
Okay, so
right?
let's fast forward. Let's fast forward past all of that. Let's talk specifically Midlothian.
Born and raised in Midlothian, right?
Yeah, I was born in. My dad was a firefighter in Dallas.
Uh-huh.
Didn't want to live in Dallas, and then we moved here about the time I turned 2 or so. We lived out in Lake Grove.
Yeah, not too far from where I grew up. I was on Oak Tree Lane.
Yeah. We lived on Lake Grove Loop.
Which was right across the street.
Yep.
Well, awesome.
Awesome. So let's start at the point of, were you around when Midlothian Talk,
Yeah.
the social media page started?
Not when it started.
Okay.
I don't know how long. It'd been around for a couple of years.
So who started the page actually?
Robert Kidder.
Okay. Yeah, actually, I've talked to him a couple times. So he was the originator. He's the one who started the page.
Yep.
Okay. So how did you become involved? Were you just somebody who?
No, my wife got me involved.
Okay.
We were talking about this a couple of days ago. She was like, "Yeah, we used to just sit around the house and just make fun of these people. Like people would complain about the stupidest stuff, and she would
Like
hand
the
me
shopping carts at Walmart.
stuff like that. You know?
Yeah.
A lot of people do that, though. I mean,
Oh, that's ridiculous. I love it when they ask a question that's easily Googleable. Googleable, is that a word?
Yep.
no, it is.
Yeah.
But I mean, dead serious. It's like, does anybody have the phone number for this? It's like, you got on the computer to do this. Just look it up on the computer. Like, how hard is that?
And there's a
But
lot-
I don't mind, like, hey, anybody know a good pool guy? Anybody know, where you can get some good tires? Whatever the people are interested in. But
Sure.
if it's literally a question that's that easy, and you look to that platform, I question your sanity.
Well, the most famous is Jimmy's Open.
Oh, well, that's honestly, you got to ask that every day just to find out what Bobby D, if he's still alive.
Oh, there is a public service announcement. Jimmy's will be closed from the 28th through the 5th.
Why?
How the hell do you know that?
Yeah.
I was there last night eating, and it said "Happy 4th of July, y'all."
I never.
Whoa.
So he's taking off a week. So Bobby D might have to find somewhere else to eat.
You're gonna starve to death.
Okay, so back to so you're heckling all the
Yeah, so we're sitting around the house, and finally she just got me involved, so I signed up, and it just kind of, because I was a cop, at the time, and
we'll get into.
yeah, and so it went from me seeing horrible stuff where, just terrible, horrible human behavior, and then seeing this, where people are bitching about their grass is too high.
First world problem.
Yeah, and so it went from what I would try to make my wife laugh at to me just posting about it, and then it just caught on. Everyone loved it.
So I would say that the number one thing you're most infamous for is the recaps.
Right.
All of a sudden you're doing these daily recaps. So how did that start?
It was on a whim one day. I was bored. There wasn't much going on, and it was just an overabundance
Of ignorance, huh?
stupidest bullshit I'd ever read. And so I just started labeling it and said, here's what people are complaining about today, and then wrote it as humorously as I possibly could without actually crapping on the person's face.
Right.
Just kind of, you know who you are, type of
Was
thing.
that back in a time where Midlothian Talk wouldn't boot you off for?
It was a little more relaxed at that point, I believe.
Yeah.
Even people do whatever they could just to get on the recap. It's like, yes,
Yeah.
I made the recap today.
Yeah, people would be like, I bet this makes a recap. And I'm like, I bet it won't,
Was that when that other guy still had the page?
Yeah,
Whatever happened to him?
I don't know.
Just got thrown off. Thrown off his own page.
What guy are we talking about?
The Kidder guy.
No, he's
No,
still
Kid-
on
yeah,
there.
he still
runs
has the
it.
page.
Yeah.
He runs the page.
Yeah, he's
So is he throwing people
as far
out, or
as
who's throwing people?
no, it's a conglomerate of admins there. There's like 6 or 7 admins.
And I think they run in various circles. So depending on who you piss off at the time,
Right.
I mean, they all have.
And
the
I
right-
was an admin for a while.
Oh, were you?
Yeah,
So you had the power.
I did.
So you know the ins and outs. I mean, if you say something against.
Nah, it's not. It's
First of all, let me interject, and I've got to do this.
Of course
I
you
was
do.
thrown off last week, and when I say thrown off, I wasn't blocked. I wasn't censored.
I thought you meant like throw it off.
No,
like you were
I was
fucked
thrown.
up in
I
the
was
head.
thrown off of Midlothian
Oh,
Talk.
okay.
Like, I had to go back and rejoin, but not until I had to reach out to 2 of the admins. I picked 2 of the admins that I don't have much of a relationship with, and Robert Kiddard was one of them, and asked what was going on. Of course, nobody had an answer.
Well, you know what the
it-
answer is.
I know what the
There's
answer
a couple people on there that are moderators who just shitbags.
And what happened
they're just
was
horrible people.
what happened was is we dropped this podcast, our first podcast, Lobo, and I think they were trying to beat us to the punch because we wanted to. I mean, we work hard on this Cement City Chatter podcast. We take our time out of our day, and this is for the city of Midlothian. Now, Midlothian Talk happens to be unfortunately, and I'm going to say that unfortunately, the largest community page in our city. So therefore, we would like to post our YouTube channel.
Did they let us do that?
And
Absolutely not. We were shut down.
we were
We
shut
were
down.
shut down from being on their page.
Yes.
And
Says
and we
it's
said nothing negative about them whatsoever.
Yeah, well, I said all the Karens on Midlothian Talk were ridiculous. And, you know, it's true. There are a lot of Karens on there, people that will bitch just to bitch, just to see themselves gripe about something.
Guess what? This
So-
one's not going to be since I called two of them shitbags.
You know, this is an unfiltered channel.
And it is what it is.
It is what it is. I don't really care.
Yeah, we speak what we feel. I mean, we're not going to sit here and sugarcoat it to make everybody feel good. We don't fluff it up. It's not going to happen.
Especially since somebody, and I'm not going to name his name, but very prestigious in the city of Midlothian, reached out to all four of us and told us how much he enjoyed the podcast and to keep it up.
So Matt,
Probably our next mayor.
okay, so
But,
so we've gone through the recap. I mean, this was a very big thing. Everybody knew who Matt Rushing was. I mean, you were close to godliness here. I mean,
was it Mr. Midlothian? Is what they dubbed him as one time?
really
Mr.
was.
Midlothian?
Yeah, I mean,
they did.
You were very, very popular. I mean, everybody wanted to see the recap. I mean, I used to ask, my wife used to read the recap at night, and I would say, you know, I don't like to read all those long things. I'd say, it's kind of like my little bedtime story, my little guilty pleasure. I say, read the recap to me, please. And she would. And I chuckled, I laughed. It was a great time.
Did you go meme while she was doing it?
I did. I did.
It got to the point where I would blow stuff so completely out of proportion. People would be like, "Well, I missed that one. Where was the alien abduction?"
Well, you did one good one on 3.1. The first one you did, I was rolling on it.
I can
The second
only.
one wasn't that good, but the first one
I'm
was
only.
fucking amazing.
I'm only as good as the material that is presented to me.
So when you're writing the recaps, were you doing this while you're sitting in the squad, you know, in a midnight shift, or were you just
Honestly,
sitting at home and just whatever?
No, it's. You know, if I saw something throughout the week, I would put it in notes on my
Okay.
phone.
Apparently, you were too busy on that shift.
Yeah, like,
We'll get to that in a second.
I would put it in notes. So almost like a stand-up comic would like headline. Remember that shopping carts suck, you know.
Right.
Or number 2 is Jimmy's open, or whatever. And
Yeah.
throughout the week, however much I had, I would just sit around and be like, yeah, I remembered what it was based on the topic. That
So
I had
you
written
see, you're really good at writing. I mean, tell me about that.
down. Oh yeah, I'm really good. I've been rejected about 140 times.
But you do have some published works too.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But growing up in our private conversations, you spoke about even as a kid, your artistic.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I've always wanted to entertain in some aspect. Always wanted to be Stephen King, so I always loved all the good horror stuff. He's not so horror anymore. It's very political. Pisses me off. But you know, I've always liked good ghost stories and monsters and all that other fun stuff. I grew up watching Tales from the Crypt and stuff like that.
Uh-huh.
And then I just wanted to play in a punk rock band and be like Green Day, you know, and stuff, and play in front of the mirror, you know.
So what did you want to be when you as a kid? What was your ideal?
An actor.
And that's funny because he actually wrote me.
Never wanted to be one of those.
What's funny, Lobo, is because I mean you're a professional actor. I mean that's what you do for a living. He had when I told Matt that we have to redo this. Number one, the sounds was shit, and most importantly, Lobo's back in town, so he can redo it. I mean, his next line was, "Well, great, maybe I can suck up to him and get a job."
Lows. No, but yeah, that's what I wanted to be as a kid. And then I started finding a niche in writing.
Yeah.
A lot of people are like, you should do stand-up comedy. I don't know how well I could do stand-up comedy.
Yeah.
But if I could get you to read, laugh your ass off, and cheer up for a minute, I did it. Success.
Yeah, you absolutely did. You
Yeah.
knocked that out of the park. So how did you go from wanting to be an actor, writer, musician to being a cop?
Necessity.
Okay.
I was on a little, and I got screwed over oil on a little independent little music label out of Austin because I knew a guy that I went to college with, and it didn't go anywhere. And So the record's still on. I'm not even gonna name it because if you buy it, he gets all the money. It's still on iTunes and stuff from back in 2006 or 7 or whatever.
Punk rock?
No, it was more of like a, I don't know, coffee shop style acoustic emo
Gotcha.
type stuff. Because that was back when that was hot, you know. Yeah, and so I went through a just ugly depression phase, and then kind of started settling down. I wanted to get married. I was working as a data entry clerk. I got the job through my wife's cousin. And
Oh,
so I loved the job, but it didn't pay.
Real and raw.
Didn't pay didn't pay dick. And so every day I went to work, there was a billboard out on the side of 360 that said hiring for the Dallas Police Department, $10,000 sign-on bonus. You'll make all this money. And all this other lies and stuff that they said. And I was like, okay, I'll do that.
So your dad was
My dad was a fireman, yeah. So
Okay.
he said, you'll have so much fun doing that. And so I just signed up, gave my 2 weeks notice, and that's it.
Okay, so did you go to the police academy and all that? Where'd you go there?
So I went to the Dallas Police Academy, which was intense because I'm a big pussy when it comes to like pain and working out and all this. I've never done it. Ever.
Don't you have to have a college degree?
No, you had to have a certain amount of college hours, or you had to be in the military.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Okay.
So mainly everyone was in the military except for me and like 3 other guys who were just college nerds.
Gotcha. So how long were you a police officer?
10 and a half years.
Okay, so let's talk about, we knew where Matt was coming. You went from just regular
Right.
Matt Midlothian to becoming King of Midlothian.
so
with
the king of
recap.
Midlothian, the highest point of Midlothian.
The
Everybody
jester.
watching.
I wouldn't say the king.
I mean,
Okay, let's say the court jester.
before we turn the page, you were doing these recaps daily or
Monday
weekly?
through- I was doing them daily until it got too much. It was taking too much of my time
Okay.
away from my family.
So
Okay.
I remember at least 2 to 3 months before D-Day, I'm going to call it. There's people, I mean, you have every other day or so, somebody would find you out in the middle of Dallas, take a selfie with you. We found Matt Rushing on the job.
Well, a lot of that, I would tag myself on the Waze app. I always thought it was friggin' hilarious. But could you see on the Waze app, hey, there's a cop down here doing radar and all this stuff. Well, that holds up really well in court, right?
Yeah.
If I put, Your Honor, I put where I was, here I was,
Yeah. Right.
So here's this little, stick figure cop of me sitting there. So people would find me like through Waze and
See, I always thought that the cops would see that they were located or marked in a certain location, and then they would put not there.
nah, people will speed no matter what, or people will do whatever no matter what.
Right.
So here we are. We're riding life high. We're doing these recaps. We have everybody in the community taking pictures of you when they can find you out. And then all of a sudden, boom, here we are. Matt Rushing's on channel 4, 5, 8, and 11. Your picture's broadcasted. City of Dallas cop under investigation. I think that was before the arrest, right? You hit the news after you arrested or
After.
after?
Yeah.
Okay, so
So under investigation happened, I was already in and out of jail.
okay, so take us. How did this happen? First of all, what were you charged with?
Fictitious, making a false statement to the feds.
Feds, was that under some special program? Thank you.
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, our bartender.
Thank you.
Yes, she keeps everything liquid.
Okay, so let me back up because I want to
what
make
she
sure I cover this. I want to make sure I cover this fully. Okay.
You want the shit
Well,
in my eyes.
No, I
get it.
want to understand. I just want to.
No,
I
I'll be
want
happy.
everybody to understand this. Okay.
Absolutely.
So you were convicted for a
the
fraction of
government.
what they charged you.
Correct. Absolutely.
You were charged with a multitude of.
So initially I had 10 charges, 9 misdemeanors, 1 felony. The felony was using a government computer source to obtain information for illegal purposes.
Okay, so what was this government program?
So
layman's terms for everybody.
layman's terms was the city of Dallas did not keep their promise on their pay to us. After 5-6 years, I was still making fairly close to what I was making as a rookie in the police academy, except this time I had 2 kids and a mortgage, and I was angry and I was very cynical.
So you had to sign up for this overtime program.
Right. I signed up. I worked it a little bit with a buddy of mine, legitimately,
Right.
for a while. And then I didn't want to do it anymore because the stress of it was higher than I wanted.
So what does this entail? Was this called, what was it
Yeah,
called?
it was a step grant.
Step grant, okay.
Yeah, so basically the feds give money to certain municipalities and jurisdictions and stuff to go to do traffic enforcement in high car crash locations.
Okay.
Right. And so the overview of the grants is make traffic stops. What I was told by a Dallas police traffic sergeant in his office was, we do not have the ability to write written warnings, so every stop has to be documented with a traffic citation.
It's not just a, what they call it, a community contact point or something?
No.
Okay.
So if I stop you for 10 over, you got a ticket for 10 over.
And this was while you were on the step?
Yes, this is on the step grant.
So any other time you could give
I don't know, because I didn't work for the traffic
Okay.
division. I was in patrol my whole 10 and a half years, but this was like an extra job. This was a way that I could make overtime, because they pay you in overtime,
Okay.
right? So my pay was doubled. So, and I was in a predicament to where I had to work it. But the city of Dallas, their stipulations were more intimate than the overall theme of what you're supposed to be doing. What the feds want you to do is, hey, you slow rolled the light back there. Let me stop you. Hey, buddy. Yeah, I've never had a ticket before, and they're cool. They don't have anything on their license. Everything's good. I would have the opportunity to say, you need to come do a complete stop back there. I'm not going to write you a ticket today. And it's documented because you tell your dispatcher, or on your MDT, you mark out, and it shows you marked out on traffic. I'm marked out here at this traffic location.
Okay.
Right? But the way it was told to me is, we don't do that. You have to write a ticket every time. Not only that, but in order to justify you working, you have to write a ticket every 30 minutes.
So they kind of put a quota on you.
No, I'm not. I didn't.
Okay. Got well taken. So you have to make so many stops.
Right. So
Well, what did everybody else do? I mean, you're just one of.
I don't know, and I'm not going to speculate because I don't.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't know. I know a couple of people have been investigated since me. but
So
I-
did they put you in areas that
So-
have more traffic than others?
Yeah. So in the city of Dallas, they hadn't updated their traffic enforcement sites in many years. And so a lot of the places like Mockingbird and some of these other places where it used to just, have, pizza joints or Jake's Burgers and all this stuff, and that was about it in parking lots. It would used to be awesome for speed. It would be at this open road between here and 75 or 35, I-35.
Because you worked the Skillman Adelia area, right?
Sometimes.
Yeah.
So I worked all over. And people would naturally, speed through there, And now there's housing developments, there's condos everywhere. No one's speeding. So they haven't updated it. And when you're assigned to a certain part to work that overtime grant, it's very hard to say, hey, I need off this. And you don't get to pick. I don't get to pick, South Buckner, through Pleasant Grove, where everyone's
Hotspot.
where everyone's busting lights and stuff.
But where did the tickets go wrong? I mean,
So where the ticket-
falsifying
well,
tickets.
what I went wrong. This is it in detail. And so I had already stated you had to have a ticket every 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Not only do you have to have a ticket every 30 minutes, but your activity, your tickets, have to be within 10% of what everyone else that's working that grant with you is doing. Otherwise,
Is everybody on this grant program or just
no. You can sign up. You have to have certain certifications.
So you
have to
signed
apply to
up
our
for the
radar.
grant
Yeah.
program.
Right. So I'd had all my traffic accident investigation. That's what I did in patrol mainly. Was I worked wrecks. I investigated car accidents.
What if you didn't write a ticket every 30 minutes?
Nothing would count, and it would show I had no activity all day.
Did that go against your job performance?
Yes. Yeah. So if that happened too many times, they would kick you off. You wouldn't be allowed to do it, which means
But you wouldn't get fired.
no. It's not like that. But I wouldn't be able to survive on the bills, so forth and so on. I needed that. And so what I would do is, if that 10, 15, 20, 30 minutes was almost up and I'm sitting across from a school and it's 45 miles an hour and it's 2:00 in the afternoon where everyone's at work and there's nothing happening, I got to justify working. So I would go find an illegally parked car that's been unregistered for a certain amount of period of time, or parked facing the wrong direction, knowing that they had pulled in wrong, on the wrong side of the street, so forth and so on. And
Thank you, Karen.
I'd file them a ticket
you.
at large.
Thank you.
I would take the MDT, I would run the tag to make sure it's not stolen. So I get their information, and it gives me all the owner's information. It would give me your information, where the VIN, the registration, where the home, where it's registered to. It'd give me everything but your date of birth. Right?
So, okay. So the infraction could be no insurance or
No,
At
it
a
wouldn't
reg-
be insurance.
it'd be registration.
Right. It would have to be. It would be well, with insurance, you're talking about having to tow the car and all this other.
Okay, so if it's no registration, and it's parked on public property, that's what you're
Yes.
you're going after. I mean, you're not talking about a no registration. Somebody's got it in their yard.
Correct.
Okay,
Yep.
and they're nowhere to be found. So
No.
we
So I
write
file
a
it at
ticket. Do
large.
you put the ticket on the dash or
No, I would I would sign the tickets, file at large, meaning they would mail them their tickets
Okay.
to that address, right? So this went on for a time.
And that's the address that's on file.
That's the
They may
address
or
on
may not
file.
live there.
Now, here's the thing. If they don't live there, that's another violation because you're supposed to be registered. That car's supposed to be registered to where you registered the car, right?
Oh,
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So if they went, that no one came to fight any of these, none of them, because they were parked illegally and all this stuff, right?
so how did you get jammed up in this?
Because we had 2 or 3 people complain that went to internal affairs, righteously so, and say, hey, this guy never pulled me over. My car's been parked out here for 17 years. So he's basically admitting that the ticket was legitimate, but I didn't pull him over.
Okay, but they're illegally parked.
But what I got in trouble for is signing the federal grant every day saying I did traffic stop.
Okay, so here we are.
Okay, yes.
So now I'm lying.
Okay. I think I understand it now.
So the way
Are you, Lobo, do you understand it?
I
Is
think I'm still stuck behind, but I'm
okay.
going along with
So,
it.
no, I mean, and that's okay. This is a lot. I mean, we're not police officers. We're just trying to get an entire picture of what's going on. So, there's the rule says pull somebody over,
and write them a
a
ticket.
human person, and write them a ticket.
Right.
Where you got in trouble was you never pulled them over. You wrote a ticket,
And
but
I'm
you
not
said,
every single time.
okay,
Like I'm working if I get
understand.
the
I
stuff I
understand.
get, yeah.
I understand. But when it wasn't possible to pull somebody over and you're 28 minutes into it, we write a ticket and we just said we pulled them over.
But how do you pull a felony out of this?
The felony, so they got me for all the complaints. The 3 people that went up there and complained, then the investigators, the detectives, went down all 700 something of my tickets that I'd written in those 2 years and found 10 people that had a problem with it. Only 3 of which stayed with the complaint. So they use those initial 10 people to file the charges. So they were the misdemeanors of I can't remember. It's on public record. You can look it up, whether you will or not, but you can.
Right.
Yeah, I can't remember. What
I'm
the
sure our
misdemeanors
listeners will
were.
look it up.
I remember my heart sank when my attorney, he was talking to me. He's like, misdemeanor, $20,000 felony for using your computer to look all this stuff.
Okay, so let me ask you this. So 10 people came forward and they said, "Hey, this isn't right."
And who-
what
no,
about
no,
what
no,
about the
no,
what
no,
about
no.
the others?
No,
Did
no,
they get
3.
warrants in the mail, or
A couple.
so did people go to jail over this?
No,
no.
no one went to jail over it except for me.
No, that's what I'm saying. The people you
Yeah.
wrote tickets to did, and those addresses weren't correct. Lobo, do you understand what I'm saying? If their address wasn't correct, did they go to jail?
Well, no, they would go to jail.
No.
It's still a misdemeanor. In Texas, you have to have your,
I mean, you can get arrested
your
for a mis.
vehicle, your license, and your insurance have to be a current resident.
You can,
You
but
have 30 days to register or to change all your shit over when you do it.
so and what he's saying is absolutely true. So if you're not registered to where your car's saying you're registered, you've broken the law regardless.
Okay.
Dude, I got a
Gotcha.
ticket in Baytown one time. I was speeding. I was hauling ass like the tee time to play golf. And the cop came up, and I laugh still today. Brand new Cadillac. Comes up and goes, "Son, do you know how fast you're driving?" And I looked up, and it's like a 20-year-old kid there. And I said, "I don't know, Dad. How fucking fast was I going?"
Yeah.
That turned into a ticket each way for my registration, my insurance, and
Oh, yeah.
license. Now going back all different directions. And then actually he charged me with something about saying that back to him.
Oh my God.
He got me out of the car, cuffed me up, and I went to jail. I wound up getting bailed out,
What'd you go to jail for?
Traffic.
whatever it was that I did with the cop. And when we wound up fighting, and when I went to court, the judge just laughed. And he goes, "Why in the fuck would you ever go up to an older person and call him son?"
So we
That's
used
what-
to
that was
call
my
that.
point, Your Honor.
We used to call that. You got popped. POP. Pissed off police.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
I mean, now granted, I was doing like 95 and a 60, but I
Yeah.
So you deserve to
But,
take it.
but
I would've gone to jail anyway. 25 overs jail.
I know Baytown, so it depends
Yeah,
where you were at. Because doing 95 in front of a school, yeah, doing 95 on 45 when there's no one around.
yeah, I fucking went to jail. So,
Okay,
I
so-
learned right then all about all the stuff needs to
Yeah.
match.
So here we are. We're in court. You know, you're
We're already in
facing
court?
you're facing 10 charges, misdemeanor charges, and
Nope, never
one
went,
felony.
Never went to court on any of it.
Oh, you didn't.
Nope.
So how
What
how
were
did you
you
get
arrested?
convicted?
Yeah, what were you arrested for first and
I
foremost?
was arrested for those 9 misdemeanors and that 1 felony by the county, by Dallas County,
nice.
the city of Dallas, Dallas County, right?
Uh-huh.
And so attorney got involved, went through all this stuff. I'm glossing over all the emotions. Obviously, I was devastated.
and I
didn't
wanna
know
talk
what-
about that here in
I
a
didn't-
second, but-
I didn't. I thought I was in a gray area here, So anyway, he, and I say he, my attorney was awesome the whole way through, and it wasn't really as much that he could do for me. I mean, what they charged me with, there's the paper that you signed saying you pulled these people, you know what I mean? So what happened was,
You knew your ass was in a crack.
I didn't believe that I was going to see jail. I did not believe I was going to see prison. It wasn't confirmed because they didn't want to give me these false hopes and all this stuff. But I had talked to some other attorneys and they're like, we've seen this before, actual where cops are going to graveyards and writing dead people tickets for the grant. You know what I mean?
But you're on the news, man.
Of course I was.
Why did they put you on the news?
I don't want to speculate.
You got to be famous. That's what you want.
Yeah.
You want to be famous.
Remember you?
I've been on the news before then for good stuff and bad stuff, and then shit. But anyway, yeah.
So did you ever actually have a court date, or was this all kind of
Not
settled
for
out?
the county. So what happened was about a month went by, and things were just kind of stagnant. I'd call. I don't really have any answers for you now. You know how it can be drawn out.
Are you on bond? Are you on bond?
Right now?
No, at the time.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Awesome family that stood beside me the whole time. But anyway, so we're waiting on that, and a month goes by, and I'm thinking I'm gonna get some type of probation. I'm gonna have to do some community service, something like that. Because what they charged me with wasn't big, the way the city and everything made it out to be. I mean, it was big, but it wasn't. You're going away, son.
Right.
And the current climate, with cops and stuff.
At this
going
time, it's
on.
all state charges,
Yes.
Okay.
Or county.
and we're working
Yeah.
to that.
It's not. Yeah. It's county. It's local. So that's why I'm thinking, okay, well, I'm gonna have to pay a crap ton of money and all this other stuff. Well, my attorney calls, and mixing future events and past events together to make the story. So the county drops all the charges. And I went, what? I said, yeah, here's the bad news. The feds picked it up. Oh, I'm gone. I'm going to prison because it's the feds, you know, and
They can just call it
prayer.
conspiracy, and you're
Yeah,
done for
yeah,
20
it's,
years.
it's done. And the way the feds work, they,
Lobo, you probably know a little bit about that with some of your buddies. I mean, conspiracy. I mean, if they can't make anything stick, it's just called conspiracy.
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean,
What do they call it?
you're involved.
What do they call it in Texas? It's not, God, what's it called? Participating in organized crime.
Accomplice.
engaging in organized criminal
crime
activity.
Yeah, so they popped me with one charge, falsifying a government document. Absolutely nothing to do with the fake traffic stops. I know that the news said fake tickets. There was nothing fake about them. I wrote them and they were legit. It was the traffic stops that were
Yeah.
fake. But they handed me that. So I talked to my attorney and he wisely told me to plead guilty because I signed all these things and I didn't pull these people over, and there's evidence because there's dash cam of none of these traffic stops.
So let's be clear. You're saying you never wrote anybody a ticket for an expired registration that did not have an expired registration.
That is correct.
You did not ever write anybody a ticket that was illegally parked that wasn't illegally
Correct.
parked.
Where you went wrong is you signed the ticket.
And
Well, I didn't sign any-
lied,
no,
you lied
no.
about the traffic stop.
No,
That's-
I didn't sign any of the tickets. I signed them file at large for the court. Right.
Okay, so-
and they mentioned that too, I know in the news, and part of the original criminal complaint was that I forged signatures. I did never forge a signature. Never. You can look at the tickets, you can see my crappy handwriting where I put file.
You just didn't stop anybody.
Well,
That-
the ones I was
that's-
accused of, I didn't stop.
Correct.
Because I did. If I had an awesome site like Simpson Stewart or something where it's 35 and, and people haul butt through there, I'd get 20 legitimate speeding tickets. I'm talking 15 to 20 over.
So what I'm having a problem with is how are we getting a felony charge out of this?
Because it was a federal grant. I stole their money, their overtime money. They wanted
But
their
you
money
wrote
back.
tickets that were legitimate. They just didn't happen to be there, and you didn't actually physically make the stop. You just rolled up on something that was illegally parked.
That's
But
the
you didn't
criminal
follow
act.
procedure.
No, I didn't follow federal procedure, or I didn't follow procedure regardless, city or anything. But what the crime that I committed was I lied to the FBI. On the document, it said this many traffic stops, this many tickets, this is a seatbelt ticket, stop sign, whatever, and then I put that stuff, put registration tickets, whatever, and then down I would put I would have 6 tickets, only 2 of which were traffic stops, and down the bottom put 6 traffic stops, and I would sign it. And at the very bottom of every one of those pieces of paper have the federal law saying if you're in violation of blah 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 if you lie to us. And every day I looked at that and signed it and turned it in. But they only got me for 1. And this was over a 5-6 month period. Do you know how many of those that I had signed and turned in? 'Cause they were looking over 700 something tickets. They only found 10 people to complain, 3 to show up.
Oh,
So that could have been 700 something
Counts.
counts.
Yeah.
Why
So
didn't you just go get the security job in your off time like every other cop? Be a
can't.
bouncer.
You gotta know people. You gotta know people. I was a dork. I did traffic accidents, traffic enforcement stuff. That's not popular. You got to be popular there. I was not popular.
oh.
No one hated me, but I wasn't the guy. Hey, bro, let's go work this quinceanera. And every now and then I'd get one like that paid $50 cash at the end
I
of the
mean,
night.
every bar would pay you to sit there in the parking
They
lot.
would, but in Dallas, there were people that had their friends and they would work it.
Yeah, I
see what
get
I'm
it.
saying?
It's a networking gig.
Yeah, I couldn't. They have extra job hotlines you could go to. Be like, this apartment complex is going to pay you dick,
Oh.
in Oak Cliff
Well,
to
yeah.
walk
Then you
it.
just go but you go get another job or something. I don't
Yeah.
know, dude. I mean,
No, this is the point. It was easy. All I had to do was show up, work 4 hours, write a few tickets, and turn in a piece of paper, and I got overtime.
now what happened with all the people that you'd given legit tickets to? They can come back and fight all the tickets now.
And they did.
Wow.
They all got thrown out. like legit school zone tickets, stuff like that. A lot of them just pay them. I'm that way personally. Get it, whatever, pay it. You know, not a lot of people would show up to
You
court.
would have to question pretty much everything you ever did in 10 years.
Yep. And here's the deal is I personally know of at least one patrol supervisor, if he's not a lieutenant yet, who lied under oath, perjured himself under oath over a questionable police shooting that happened in Oak Cliff in like 2012, 2013. And he is on the do not testify list because he lied under oath, so they can't take any of his testimony at all. But he's out on the streets now answering calls.
Wow.
Would you want him to show up to a family member's rape scene, catch the guy, and he's the one, and then he has to go testify, but he's still out on the street, and he got a month off without pay?
That's unfortunate.
So I don't know what that was about. I was told by a federal marshal when I was being arraigned through the feds, and everyone, I mean, treated me with respect and as a human, not as a cop. There's none of that. But they all knew we're not going to put you in here with these people. We're going to fingerprint you and kind of roll you out. But he told
Well, you
me
can't be incarcerated with anybody that you may come in contact with that you've arrested or ticketed.
Right. But what he told me was the feds are looking into, he said, I'm only going to tell you this because it's something I know, and it's the feds are looking into the Dallas Police Department traffic unit. And what that told me was I was there to investigate them without warrants and all this other stuff. They could use my crime to investigate further.
Okay,
See
so
embezzlement.
you went all through this.
Because
You're-
there's equipment, there's supervisors sleeping with representatives from radar companies, LiDAR companies to get contracts. There's all sorts of stuff going on.
Okay, so you were jammed up with all this. You've got you're convicted. You lost your police, your license. What's it
your
called?
peace officer's license.
Yeah, peace officer license.
Never got fired.
You never got fired. So, but did you lose your commission?
I did lose my commission.
Okay.
I did. I turned that in on my own. Or
So-
my attorney turned it in for me, but I turned it in on my
But
own.
could you have kept it?
No.
Okay, so it was
No.
Because
that was out
you
of
were
the
going to be,
question.
if it was state, could you have done some, deferred adjudication to?
No. Not with a felony.
Yeah.
No.
Right.
So, yeah, the way all that went down was I was still getting paid. I was getting my regular paycheck every 2 weeks. And I was like, okay, my arraignment court date was coming up. And my attorney's like, yeah, you might want to go ahead and resign. They haven't fired you yet. So,
So did you resign before the news media? It was after.
yeah. Yeah, it was before my federal indictment.
Okay, so here you've gone through your indictment, you've been convicted. Everything else
That's
is
it.
thrown out.
Now we're waiting on the punishment phase. So now we're waiting on.
Are we still waiting on that?
No, that's over.
Okay, so that's done. What,
You
so,
disposed the whole case.
Yeah, it's over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
so what's going on now? Are you on a probation, parole? How's that work?
I have to wear women's underwear in public once. I'm just joking.
They're making me do it. I don't know.
No, so
Well, you like it though. Come on.
it's strictly a comfort thing.
Well, we didn't even have to have a judge tell him to do that.
Hey, I'm in.
Yeah.
No, I was originally looking at 5 years in the federal pen, but their charts are so funky. Like in the state
It's a point system.
Yeah.
And let me tell you how I know this. And I hate to say this, my dad's been gone since 2010, but he had an issue. He was the vice president of Wells Fargo Bank, and which has nothing to do, but he had some tax issues and had to go to court. And when he went to court, I was there with him, and it was a point system. The jury comes back and they give you points. And had it been,
Oh,
let's
he
say-
took it to court.
yeah. Well, so the jury came back with a 9. Okay, if it, and that's the threshold is 10 and below. 10 and below is allowed probation.
A misdemeanor territory.
Okay,
Basically,
10 and above, you're looking at prison sentencing. So he hit the threshold, and he had to do 5 years federal prison for tax, or federal probation for tax
Tax, yeah.
evasion.
So my deal was, the initial charge was way up here. The pre-probation, pre-sentencing report and all that stuff, I was honest about everything, got all the guns out of the house, all that other stuff. Went down the list and stuff was like, because I was a cop for 10, I've never got arrested. I didn't have any tickets, or anything like that. And so it dropped all the way down to the threshold, right? And the threshold was 1 year in prison. But on the back side of that, on the last sheet of paper on the pre-sentencing report, it says if the offender has never committed a violent crime, and this is the first time he's ever been arrested, probation should be looked at. And going to prison should not be a thing. This is when COVID's rampant. And so people are dying in prison and stuff. And I committed this white collar crime where I stole like $10,000 of federal money and all this stuff. So when I went last August before the federal judge and just didn't plead, I said I did this, I deserve this, I'm sorry, we all have to be here. There was a lot more to it, but it was more of an amends thing.
Right.
It was more of a spiritual thing for me. It was more of my way of being as humble and stuff as I could possibly be, and to say, look, I did this, and I let down all my friends on the police department. I let down the citizens. I let down everyone in this court, including the prosecutor. And so at the very end, the judge took a recess and came back, and it was a tearful moment, because it wasn't because, hey, I'm not going to prison. Obviously that's awesome, but it was the first time I was real with myself in my whole life.
Right.
And she recognized it immediately. The judge, I say she,
Right.
the federal judge recognized it, asked my attorney, he goes, do you have a problem with me handing down a 3-year probation? And he goes, oh, no. My defense attorney, that's a win. That is a win, because I should be in the pen, right? Mm-hmm. But the real cool thing was, she went to the prosecutor, who was fighting to put me in the pen, because I should have been held to a higher standard, which I should have. And he didn't have a problem with it. When the prosecutor, who's going after a crooked cop, says, no, he shouldn't go to the pen, I must have said something.
So let me ask you this: do you consider yourself a crooked cop? And I know that's a tough question, but
I mean, it's
Yes.
yeah. I mean,
Yes.
he is a crooked cop.
Yes.
Look at him. He made all the other cops look bad too,
Yes.
because you got to be able to trust the guy
Yep.
that's wearing the badge.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's-
And during the time where no one trusts cops now and all this shit's all over the news and all this stuff, yeah, I let everyone go. Absolutely.
I mean, you got to think, every time guys go to work now, people are looking at them going, "This is what they do."
Yeah, exactly. I
And it's
proved
just-
them right.
I mean, there's so many people in the world that just hate cops.
Yeah.
But they hate
And it
cops because they've
justified
run
because
into
of
that
the shit.
one cop.
right.
Exactly.
And it's just, it looks
Yep.
bad on everybody else. I mean, we've got friends that are in law enforcement.
Yeah, we
I
do.
mean, that guy's, those guys are going to work every day,
Yep.
and they're having to deal with this kind of crap.
Well, which brings me to the next question. Let's talk about your peers. I mean, I'm sure you had friends and coworkers that you had a relationship with. Are you able to still maintain a relationship with them, or
All of them.
Or yeah,
Yeah. As a matter of fact, I had people calling me, other fellow cops and stuff calling me, saying, man, you really got screwed over on this deal. This is way over the top and all this other stuff. I heard that from a number of people, different ranks and stuff. I'm like, yeah, but I did it, so here I am. So
So what about the community backlash that we had? Because we had Matt Rushing,
yeah,
who
yeah, yeah.
was
So-
who was king of the.
So here's the deal.
recap.
Here's the deal. I was so dumbstruck initially, backtracking to the very beginning of this. I did my walkthrough, arrest, and all that stuff. I didn't think about that. I was visiting friends who were, loving on us, feeding us, because I was so depressed that I was going to kill myself.
and that's what I was going to get to. How
Yeah.
did this affect your home life? Your
Yeah,
wife.
it was-
Your wife.
yeah.
I've met Courtney.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
she's great.
she's a lovely
I
lady.
call her my rock for a reason. She is my rock. She's my whole world.
I mean, you
She
went
is
from
that
a
solid person
steady
in your life.
paycheck to nothing. So
To
how did you survive?
Where a teacher has to take care of the family bills. Yeah.
What does Courtney do?
She's a second grade teacher at Palmer Elementary.
Okay.
Yeah. she's a great teacher too. But anyway, I just say that because she's my wife. No,
No, I'm
she
sure
really
she
is.
is.
No, we moved in, our whole family. My mom moved in, my mother-in-law moved in, grandmother-in-law moved in, and everyone just kind of pitched in to help pay the bills because, like I said before, I assumed I was going to do 1 to 5 years, and I wasn't going to be there. And then in the time period between, I had applied to do Amazon Flex, take people packages. I signed up for DoorDash and all this stuff. So luckily, by the grace of God, my felony hadn't hit the books when I applied for those jobs. And their background check went through before my felony hit the books. So I was able to work in that time period. I was able to make $400, $500 a week.
Did that catch up with you though?
No.
You're still able to do that?
Yes, I can. Yeah. Actually, I'll do DoorDash every now and then. I got an awesome job with a freaking awesome boss right now that, I ain't rich. I ain't what I was making when I was a cop, but we're okay.
Dude, if you'd have just done Amazon or DoorDash in the fucking first place.
Oh, yeah. I went from data entry.
Because I was thinking this was like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
I didn't realize it was this recent. Like, that shit was around, dude.
2019 is when the felony hit.
Well, Lobo,
But
when
as
did
a
you
cop,
move?
yeah.
When did you move to? And we talked about this in the first episode. You've been in Midlothian now, what?
like 3 years, something like that.
Yeah, you sold your house, and we talked about this. How I grew up in DeSoto. You had
Same neighborhood.
in Mantlebrook. Yeah, I grew up in Mantlebrook. You owned a home in Mantlebrook. You and your wife, and you sold it and relocated here to Midlothian.
Right.
What? We going 3 years now?
It's pretty close.
How long have you owned your estate over there?
I think a year and a half. It's about 2.5 years.
Yeah.
So, to kind of wrap up all my stuff, I'm hurt not because I got caught, not because I got arrested. I'm hurt because I spent all these years taking advantage for the glory of me to be this entertainer or this cop or this whatever, instead of just freaking loving on people, making them smile, and
Right.
helping people, and loving my family. I talk about my wife. We were almost divorced. I didn't,
Really? Really?
I didn't cheat or anything like that, but I was a selfish prick, and I'd run off to my band's house.
But after this happened, how did that affect her?
Oh, well, luckily we.
And let me tell you, before you get into that, I said this before. I actually reached out to Courtney.
Yeah.
I believe it or not, and Lobo, John, they all know this about me. Real. I'm a little guy, so therefore I'm very tough on the outside, but a cream puff on the inside. You can verify that. I saw some people because you just disabled your Facebook immediately.
Yeah, we strayed away from that. Yeah,
Yeah,
as far as Midlothian talking all that stuff,
You
that was
cut
it.
ties. You cut ties with the city immediately.
because I didn't need that then.
Yeah, and maybe your lawyers told you to do it as well too.
No, they
but-
didn't. I didn't need that.
Well, you cut ties.
Yeah.
And so now the only rushing that you had to approach about this was Courtney.
Mm-hmm.
And so she's taking the brunt of all this.
Right.
And I witnessed it a few
Yeah,
times. And like I said, I showed her the other night. I said, "Do you remember this message
Mm-hmm.
that I sent you?" And I pulled up my phone, and it was just like, "Honey, keep your head up." People are vicious.
Yeah. Yeah. And they still are.
Especially when it's somebody that they put so much into, that was providing them so much entertainment.
But I do want to say this for anyone who is on Midlothian Talk and all that other stuff that used to follow my stuff. You have every right in the world to hate me.
yeah,
do.
tell Midlothian.
You do.
what's up.
You have every right in the world to hate me and want what's worse for me and all that stuff, and I deserve it. And I want your forgiveness, not because I got caught, not because I want to be back in the spotlight or any of that stuff, but I hurt you. I flat out make fun of people. I piss people off. I went out of my way to make a joke out of someone's business or something. I hurt people, and it hurts me now. It didn't hurt me then. I'm a different dude now, and I'm just so sorry. I wish I had never done all that stuff. Wish it woulda, shoulda, coulda. but it took this fall for me to realize what's really important, and I'm glad it happened.
Yeah.
I wouldn't change it. I'm glad it happened. Our marriage has never been stronger. My personal values, work ethic, never had a work ethic before. My boss a couple of months goes, I really appreciate your work ethic. I laughed my balls off.
Right.
Because even when I was a cop, it was whatever I could do to get off on time.
Right.
Go home, you know? So, yeah, and I still love this community. My goal going forward, if I had any role at all in any type of group or Facebook or any of that, it's just to make people laugh.
Yeah.
Because life freaking can get you. It sucks. This world blows.
So-
and if I can step into that and make someone go for a second while they're taking a dump, that makes my life complete.
It's my favorite place to read
So-
the recap
so-
is when I'm taking a dump.
Thanks.
The best part of redoing this podcast is because when we first shot it and the sound was horrible, we were missing our partner, Lobo.
Yeah.
And Lobo, like you said, you weren't sure when all this happened because you were new. Like
Right.
hearing all this, how do you feel about all this and what Matt said?
And like I said before, it's cool.
The thing is, you gotta remember, like, the dude swore an oath. He fucking did every fucking thing wrong. You know, he's paying his price. You know, it is what it is. Unfortunately, it's not gonna go away anytime soon. You're probably gonna be stuck with this for the rest of your life.
Yeah,
That's
but
okay.
you know what?
But-
He's apologized. He's trying to make amends to the community.
It's not.
I agree.
And,
No, I agree
And
with that.
we're using the apology thing. That I put that in there legitimately because
Yeah.
I wanted to make an apology. It's
No,
not. I'm not
but
begging.
it's not
for-
even
But
that.
back-
I'm
back
just
to
saying
Lobo
that
here.
people are always gonna be dickheads.
Of
no
course,
matter what.
I know that.
You know, he did a lot of damage to a lot of people, as well as everybody he worked with and stuff. It's going to take time for that to kind of go away. I mean, he's going to be stuck with this for a while.
So what's your advice?
But you know, to me, I mean, fuck, everybody makes mistakes. Shit.
Right.
I mean, whoever doesn't make a mistake, go ahead. You be the first guy to throw a rock at this guy because you can't. Nobody in this world is perfect. Nobody is whatever. Now, there's good cops out there. It's a bad cop deal, but at the end of the day, everybody makes mistakes. There's a millionth I keep bringing up. You get another job, do this, do that, do the other thing. He didn't do it. He did this. This is what he did. He stuck with it, and that's the end of it. But to sit here and just keep throwing rocks at him, like, fuck. I mean, what more does he have to do?
Yeah.
I mean, did you want to see him go to jail for 5 fucking years? I mean,
And you know what?
I don't.
And I would be the first person to tell you or anyone, I deserve to be there. I
Well,
deserve to be there.
The thing is cops
I
are
deserve
people too. Everybody's people. I mean, that's the thing. People
Yeah.
make mistakes.
Yep.
I mean, I'm not mad at you.
All right.
It is what it is.
So what are we doing now, Matt?
So I'm working on a novel about a ghost story about the hill country.
Yeah.
Yeah, working on some short stories, hanging out in the Cement City Chatter, Midlothian 69 or whatever it is now.
Yeah.
Just kind of doing little recaps here and there just for fun. I don't do it every week. It's just whenever I'm not busy.
So, but you're doing your recaps. Where are you? 3.1.
It's a 3.1.
And
yeah.
I'm an admin on that page too.
Yeah.
But
I think you should move to Chatter and just
Well,
Focus-
what
I don't
primarily on
look,
that.
Look, I'm not trying to knock anybody's Midlothian page, but
the deal is,
I would like to say we put a little more heart into our page. I mean, we've got the podcast.
politics and all that stuff aside, I can't go back to Midlothian talk. I can't. Just because.
Well, we don't want you to because all they're going to do is censor you.
Well, people are going to be dicks. Some of the admins I still call friends, so I'm not going to shit on that.
No,
you know?
no need to.
And I know they would help me and all this other stuff.
But they won't let us
but-
post our podcast with you.
Exactly.
How do you feel about that?
Neutral.
Neutral. Well,
So
Pussy.
I told
Come
you,
on.
bro. I told you when I first sat down. I fucking told you.
Okay, so here I want to talk about your band.
Okay.
Tell me about your band. What do you got going on?
Dude, the song is cool. I heard the song. I like the song.
Thanks.
I love Bike at Night.
It made me want
Yeah.
to grab my skateboard.
You
by
guys
the
are-
thumbs
go
and
back,
start
right?
banging
My
Yeah.
kid says, I like the song about the albino guy.
Exactly right.
Love it.
So, and I can't wait to tell Mike that that was his deal.
What? You have to piss? All right, come back.
I got a piss too. So I guess we'll wrap this up. So thanks, guys. This has been Cement. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm not. Yeah. I'd been in so many bands, worshipped, at the foot of I want to make it, and all this stuff, and just family aside, and just was such a total dick that I came out of that. And I was like, I just want to play punk again. I just want to play some punk again. I just want to play fast shit and have fun and bitch about the stuff that pisses me off or makes me depressed. And my friend Mike, same thing. He jumped out of his way during my deal because we grew up together. We went to high school together, church, all that stuff. He's like, yeah, I'd really like to do this. And so we just kind of jumped in and just started kind of doing it during the COVID downtime. We had all the time in the world to just.
And your songs are on Spotify?
They're on Spotify, iTunes, Apple Play. They're everywhere.
How are they selling?
Not good.
Well, we all got to start somewhere. So,
Yeah.
So we do. The good news about the first interview with you is we do have some salvageable footage,
Oh, okay,
and
cool.
all of the audio from the performance that you did.
Yeah.
was perfect.
Awesome.
So at the end of this, I am going to attach it
Awesome.
to the end of this podcast, and we'll let people hear your songs.
So the name of the EP or the demo
Uh-huh.
is Cement City. And so the artwork on the Cement City EP, I took myself off of
Did
67.
you pay me a
minutes.
royalty
Yeah,
for
dude,
the
hey,
name?
hold on.
No,
We
no.
get a check for that.
Well, I think we should.
You should. Here's my check for the fucking nothing in royalties that we get every week.
And you
Here
owe
you
us
go.
for the microphone you just knocked over.
Each.
All 8 downloads.
All eight. No, we had a few followers for a little while. We I don't know, our drummer.
Well, then they sobered up and stopped.
Yeah, they sobered up and went, there's a fucking albino. This has got to be a joke.
And I know
And they
I just
clicked
had to go
off.
take a piss, but you actually said you liked the song.
I do like some.
I appreciate
So-
it. Yeah. I love catchy. I'm really good at writing catchy stuff and just the hooks. And it's to me, it's more about the writing and performing, being in front of people.
Right.
Is there anything else you'd like to say to our city? I mean, I know you've pretty much covered it all, but I mean,
You know,
we did this podcast to talk about
I do.
everything.
I do.
We did this podcast to talk about everything. We did this podcast to listen to you, to scrutinize you when needed.
Sure.
And like I said, Lobo
I think I got a fair treatment.
Lobo wanted to hear this
I think I got a
from
fair
a
treatment from
standpoint of
you. And I appreciate
reality, okay, as a citizen.
But right now, I'm a barbecue cook. Big D Barbecue. Killing it
shoot 'em out.
over in Mansfield.
Yeah.
I think this city is massive now. This city is not the city that we grew up in or went to high school.
Right, absolutely not.
We're multicultural now. I say that because when I went to high school, I knew 2 African American kids. That was it, and so this place is completely blown up. Everyone complains and bitches. Just stop for a minute. Think about how lucky you are to live here. The school district's awesome. The city government, for the most part, is amazing. I mean, the housing market right now, my little 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom house is worth almost double. I mean, let's come alongside each other and build each other up instead of tearing each other down. That's what I would say.
Well, I mean,
And I'm one to talk. I know I did it. I did it.
That's up to
But
the city
that's not me
council and the
anymore.
school board as a whole, and that's a whole nother topic for another day that we'll get on.
Sure. But that's what I got to say about that.
But anyways,
Well, guys, we are at an hour, and I'd like to thank everybody for tuning in this evening. Podcast will be available for your commute on Tuesday morning.
Bearable.
Available, yes, that's my shot speaking.
A variable.
we take
Verbal.
shots.
It'll be a verbal.
Officer,
To you good.
I've had a couple this morning.
I knew one.
But I want to
I'm
say,
not as drunk as you think I am.
but I want to tell everybody that as we close out this podcast, we've got some pretty cool stuff coming. John, Lobo, and I. DV LeBron will be here when he can be. DV could not be here tonight. Obviously, he has.
He knew I was here. So.
He was here the first time, but
I know.
DV has other shows that he does. I mean, he runs the Ellis County Talker. Shout out to Ellis County Talker. He brings in some. It's a political show. He brings in the who's who of.
Oh, and y'all had Dustin, right, last week?
Yeah, Dustin came
Awesome
by.
dude.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Dustin came
Awesome.
by. Yeah, him and
We're gonna have
Lucky
Dustin
Smith.
back. We're gonna have
Lucky's,
a
yeah.
forum with Lobo here.
Yeah.
Like I said, that was just kind of an impromptu. He wanted to
They
see.
forgot I existed.
No, we didn't. We didn't.
It was just we got excited. So
We couldn't do this.
it's
without
kind of like a
Lobo
kid at
anyways.
Christmas. You have all these new toys you want to play with.
What's funny is John and I are catching hell from that podcast.
We are.
Our original podcast with the three of us. We're barking on 500 views. We do it by ourselves on an impromptu night, and we haven't even hit 100.
Well, that's because we didn't tag Lobo. It's all about
You need
Lobo.
Big sexy on
Big
this.
sexy.
Yeah.
Big sexy. Hey, and if your guys are out in town and you see us, come say hi. I mean, don't let him scare you. He's very approachable and he'd love to sit and talk with you. But anyways,
Don't say hi to me.
so who do we got coming up next?
Okay, we have Officer Chris Douglas.
Chris Douglas,
aka
Captain America.
Officer for America.
He's amazing.
And we're still working on a couple more lists.
First thing I'm asking him is if he wrote any shitty tickets. I want to know.
You should carry this fucking conversation
Fuck yes.
into that. So whenever you see sick kids, you just leave their copy there.
He's like, oh, he parked his wheelchair wrong. Okay, fine. Yeah.
Yeah. No, Chris Douglas is coming, and then of course Lobo. We do have some
We're trying to work on some local political figures.
and national. I mean,
Yes.
having Lobo a part of our podcast doesn't hurt by any means. I
No.
mean,
Well, we'll see.
I don't have an agent. John doesn't have an agent, but
I don't
Lobo
have one
does.
yet.
So
I can give you one of mine.
It's coming.
Well, technically I do. I've got a federal agent, but
So guys, we really, really, really appreciate you guys showing up and watching our podcast. Stay tuned. We're going to have a couple of Matt songs tagged onto the end of it. So if you don't watch it all, just pause it and continue for the commute home.
and until next time,
Peace.
Rob, Lobo, John, we're out.
Guys, well, thank you for joining us, and we're gonna play the second EP song called "Bike at Night" by the Midlows.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Sorry, I don't have any fumes. I ride my bike to get where I need to. It's not some political view, but thanks for reminding me I'm not like you. I like riding my bike at night because I get burned in the broad daylight. I'm just a blind albino trying to get home. I like riding my bike at night because I get burned in the broad daylight. I'm just a blind albino trying to get home. Colonel Sanders, Santa Claus, give a tip from that Jim Carrey travesty. Pick a name, call me in, drive your white trash truck off of the road. I said I like riding my bike at night because I get burned in the broad daylight. I'm just a blind albino trying to get home. I like riding my bike at night because I get burned in the broad daylight. I'm just a blind albino trying